Singh Memorial Lecture. This lecture is an effort by this ever-grateful institution to celebrate the contributions of Kanwar Surjit Singh, former Chief Town Planner HSIIDC and former Chief Town Planner Haryana, and our beloved founder, Secretary General of KSS-ISPER. His contribution is not only in significantly impacting the urban landscape of the state of Haryana, but also in mentoring and guiding the urban planners in this region. This institute is the live example of his thought process and capacity to create institutions of repute to carry out research and practice not only in urban and regional planning, but also his concerns about the environment. This institute also reflects his deep commitment for women empowerment by initiating the charitable causes and skill development courses. The members of the institute shall always be greatly indebted to him for this effort. This third memorial lecture will be presented by Professor B.S. Ghuman, whose brief introduction is his contributions as academician, administrator and public policy expert has been recognized by different institutions of repute. Professor B.S. Ghuman is a forward-looking senior educational administrator. He is former Vice-Chancellor of Punjabi University, Patiala. He is MA, MPhil and PhD in economics. The Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi has recently conferred very prestigious Paul H. Appleby Award on Professor Ghuman in his recognition, remarkable contribution to the theory and practice of public administration in India. And this award was bestowed by Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu, former Vice President of India. Recognizing his valuable contribution in the field of education, the Government of Punjab has conferred Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Achievers Award on Professor Ghuman on the auspicious occasion of 550th 550वां birth anniversary of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji during a state level function. He has also been given a Punjab Ratan Award by All India Conference of Intellectuals. It's a think tank. New Public Administration Society of India conferred NR Inamdar Lifetime Achievement Award 2022 on Professor Ghuman for being a role model for development in the field of public administration. He was member of 6th Finance Commission, chaired Punjab School Education Policy Draft Committee, and he was member 5th Pay Commission Punjab. He was member for drafting New Punjab Agriculture Policy also, and member Punjab State Audit Advisory Board also. Professor Ghuman has a 40 years teaching experience, teaching and administrative experience. He has a deep understanding of university and administration ranging from policy matters to day-to-day functioning. Professor Ghuman as Vice-Chancellor has provided academic and governance leadership to the Punjabi University, having 65 teaching and research department centers, more than 270 affiliated colleges, 5 neighborhood campuses, 14 constituent colleges and 4 regional centers. Professor Ghuman was actively involved in governing the academic bodies of Punjab University, Chandigarh, like Senate, Syndicate, Academic Council, Arts Faculty, Joint Research Board, as Dean Faculty of Arts, Research Degree Committees, high profile committees has helped in developing expertise in the field of policy making. He is associated with preparation of all policy documents of Punjab University, including Punjab University Vision 2020. He is founder, chief coordinator, Center for Emerging Areas in Social Sciences, under which 3 new interdisciplinary programs, namely Masters in Police Administration, Human Rights and Duties and Social Work, were started by the university. He has been instrumental in setting up the Canadian Studies Center in 2005. Professor Ghuman is also founder coordinator of Research Promotion Cell, which is engaged in promotion and facilitation of research in the university. Professor Ghuman was on the Senate of Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar also. He was member of Academic Council, Rajiv Gandhi National University of Law, Patiala. Professor Ghuman has served as an expert on a number of committees of the UGC. He was peer team member of NAC for NAAC for accrediting universities. He has gained knowledge about micro facets of university administration through assignments like chairperson, Department of Public Administration, member of departmental committees, board of studies, inspection committees, inquiry committees, warden, etc. Professor Ghuman has published 73 papers and 3 books. He has co-edited a book on higher education titled Higher Education in India, The Changing Scenario. He has co-authored 3 chapters in Punjab Vision Document 2047 also. He has guided 70 PhD theses, MPhil dissertations. He has completed 6 research projects, out of which 3 are international projects. He has a very good international experience also. He served 2 terms on the Executive Council of Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute also. He is a Senior Associate of South Asian Studies Institute. He was adjunct professor at the Department of Economics, University of Fraser Valley, British Columbia. The institute is indebted to Professor Bhura Singh Ghuman for accepting this invitation to speak on the issue of food security and public policy in India. Welcome, sir. Now we request Professor Ghuman to deliver his address on this subject. Thank you.
Esteemed Professor R.C. Chandana ji, Professor Surjit Singh, respected Madam Harjinder Kaur, Shri Dilbag Singh Sehal ji, Sir M.S. Ojla ji, Kanwar Surjit ji, Shri Jashwant Singh ji, Professor Dhyan Kaur, Colonel D.S. Chima ji, Dr. Lakhvir Singh ji, and esteemed colleagues and friends. I am today delighted to deliver 3rd Kanwar Surjit Singh Memorial Lecture on the theme Food Security and Public Policy. Kanwar Surjit Singh, as we all know, was a visionary administrator, urban town planner, and institution builder. During his active service, he played pivotal role in improving the urban infrastructure, especially industrial infrastructure and overall quality of urban development. His contribution in planning and development of industrial model township, Manesar and other industrial estate has been widely acknowledged and appreciated. He was an applied researcher having long-term perspective, and hence he conceived the idea of setting up of a think tank in the form of Institute for Spatial Planning and Environmental Research for supplying research inputs for formulating evidence-based public policy in the arena of development, particularly urban development. After his demise, as a tribute to him, Institute has been befittingly renamed after him. I have met Kanwar Surjit Singh a couple of times, and I have found in him a gentleman upholding strong ethical values like hard work, integrity, dedication, and commitment, and above all, a very humble person with full warmth, love, and affection. Hence, friends, I am very fortunate today to deliver a lecture in his memory. I thank Sardar M.S. Ojla ji, Senior Vice President and former Chief Town Planner of Punjab, and Sardar and Shri Jashwant Singh ji, who is General Secretary and former Chief Town Planner Haryana, for contacting me and giving me an opportunity to address this august house. Friends, today I will speak on a theme, food security and public policy in India. It's a theme which is evergreen, a theme in a country like India. I discussed this theme with the organizers, and with the consent of both of us, we have decided to select this theme. Because in this audience we have varied background persons, and hence I will try to be as general as possible and sometimes technical as well. Friends, this is the way I organize my presentation. I will start with introductory remarks. Food security is a global phenomenon. In a developing world, particularly in a populous country like India, having more than 1.4 billion people, the problem of food security is more, insecurity is more acute. The issues relating to food security in the country need immediate and serious attention due to many factors. Why we are more concerned for food security in India? There are a couple of factors that are responsible for this. The first one is variability in the availability of food grain. It's fluctuating, it's not stable. Exploitation and pollution of environmental resources for producing more agricultural production. Low purchasing power of sizable population on account of glaring income inequality, about which I will talk later on. Poverty, unemployment and hunger, about which I will speak later on. High incidence of malnutrition among children, pregnant and lactating women, about which again I will speak at length. Lack of access to clean drinking water, inadequate sanitation facilities, and low access to healthcare services and education. COVID-19 pandemic has aggravated this situation. The government of India has taken a number of policy measures to address various aspects of food security. During COVID-19 pandemic, government has implemented a special program for addressing the problem of food security. However, the effectiveness of most of these programs is far from satisfactory. Now, why this performance is not satisfactory? A couple of factors are responsible for it. The first one is poor targeting. Again, I will elaborate. It's just a gist I'm presenting to begin with. Corruption, leakages, and inefficiencies are plausible reasons for modest to poor outcome of food security programs in India. The performance of the program deteriorated particularly after the introduction of economic liberalization policy in 1991. Why so? Because of decline in public investment in agriculture, terms of trade against agriculture, diversion of agricultural land for urbanization and industry, particularly for special economic zones, rationalization of subsidy and its gradual decline in case of agriculture sector, and household under public distribution system have adversely affected the food security in India. Public policy initiated, namely National Food Security Act 2013, has kindled a ray of hope for solving the problem of food security from a right-based perspective. It is, we will see, it's a part of the constitution as well. One more point in the summary is the debate is on about the merits and limitation of placing food in kind through PDS by cash transfer and food stamps. That instead of having PDS, let us transfer cash to the beneficiaries and then they will go to the shop and purchase food of their own choice. This is a debate which is going on. In this background, the decoding of Indian experience of public policy and food security in the memory of Kanwar Surjit Singh will generate a large number of research questions, and their analysis may result in policy prescription applicable not only to India but also to many developing countries. This is abstract of the presentation. Now, what is food security? Food security as a concept is an evolving concept. Let me come to the latest one so that we can save our time. Precisely speaking, food security exists when all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences, very important food preferences, for an active and healthy life. This is the way food security has been defined as a concept. Now, what is the status of food security? The status of food security has been measured on the basis of two indicators. The one is total production, second is per capita availability of production. On both accounts, India has done a wonderful job after Green Revolution. After Green Revolution, overall production has increased fourfold. it was 72.3 million tons in the year 65-66. Now it has reached 332.22 million tons, and hence registering fourfold increase. Now, though Green Revolution has succeeded in increasing the overall production as well as crop yield, but it has its own consequences in the form of environmental sustainability, that this part of the country has paid a huge cost in the form of degradation of environmental resources and their over exploitation. That's why now we are talking about alternative farming. Now, what about per capita availability of food grains? Instead of total food grain, per capita availability of food grain is a better indicator, because it takes into account imports as well as rate of growth of population. The temporal analysis of this indicator also suggests that food grain per capita has improved in India. For example, food grain per capita per day was 394.9 grams in 1951, which increased to 568 grams in 2023. The rate of growth, but here is a catch. Here is a disturbing factor. The high rate of food inflation has, however, made situation critical and has adversely affected the food security and livelihood of most of the vulnerable population. There's another disturbing factor. Within food grains, the per capita availability of both cereals and pulses have declined during post-economic liberalization period. The decline in pulses, which is a principal source of protein in Indian diet, is a major area of concern from food security point of view. The position has improved in case of per capita availability of edible oil and sugar. Improvement in edible oil is mainly due to the increased imports. Economic access to food. Now, if we have a country in which national income is fairly distributed, in that case, majority of the population has better economic access to food, but it is not the case so far in India is concerned, and situation deteriorated after COVID pandemic. Now, what is the situation of inequality in India? Uneven distribution of wealth and asset has been highlighted by Oxfam report titled Survival of the Richest, the Indian Story 2023. What does this report say? This report says that top 1% of the Indian population owned more than 40% of the total wealth, while bottom 50% of the population had around 3% total wealth. This is the inequality we are having in India. We can approach this food security from another indicator, namely people below poverty line. Even in this case, the situation is not worth appreciating. Studies show that though percentage of people below poverty line has declined over time, yet during COVID period it has increased. Now, what is the situation here? According to recent World Bank survey of 2024, it estimates that almost 130 million Indians are living under extreme poverty on less than $2.5, that is about rupees 181 per day. This is the situation in case of poverty in India. Now, there's another way of approaching food security so far economic access to food is concerned, that is about hunger. The problem of hunger is in the country is also very serious. About 200 million Indians sleep hungry each night, and around 10 million people die per year due to hunger and related diseases in the country. This is the situation so far economic access to food grain or food security is concerned. Now, what is the adequacy of food and nutrition? If we approach food security from this angle, again, this situation is not worth appreciating. Adequacy of food and nutrition is assessed on the basis of per capita calorie, protein, and fat intake. Except fat intake, the situation is not as per the norms, laid down norms in Indian context. A study has shown that in the rural as well as in the urban areas, per capita calories intake is below the minimum norm of 2,400. In the rural areas, the minimum norm is 2,400, but average is less than this. In the urban areas, the norm is 2,100. Again, empirical evidence suggests that average is lower than this. The behavior of per capita protein intake is almost similar to that of calorie intake. If we come to protein, same pattern we are observing. During economic reform period, it remained below the norm of 60 gram. That 60 gram minimum is required, but in both rural and urban areas, it's less than 60 grams per capita per day. Per capita intake of fat has increased in both rural and urban areas over time and exceeded the norm of 40 grams per day per capita. Only in fat we are exceeding the target. If we compare rich and poor, then the comparison of per capita calorie intake, protein and fat between rich and poor household clearly suggests that poor households suffer considerably on account of nutritional intake. And within this, women and children are the most vulnerable group so far as nutritional intake is concerned. This is the case in case of nutrition. Now, what about food absorption? Food absorption, only healthy human beings absorb essential nutrients. Therefore, though availability of nutritious food and economic access to it are important pillars of food security, equally important are complementary conditions which are essential for food absorption. These conditions are, what are the complementary conditions which are required to be a healthy human being? These are safe drinking water, sanitation, hygiene, education and healthcare, especially that of pregnant and lactating mothers and children. The performance of these amenities is far from satisfactory in India and hence adversely affect food security. Therefore, in case of even complementary conditions, the situation is not up to the mark. Now, what are the public policy? This is the main crux of the address. Now, what are the public policy vis-a-vis food security? In all, there are 4 or 5 policies which affect food security. The first policy which affect food security relates to minimum support price, which is under discussion these days throughout the country for procurement, and second is buffer stocks, and third is public distribution system, which is again core of this presentation. And the second policy which affects food security in India is the National Nutritional Program. This again, we will discuss 2 programs in this context. And third are the policies and programs for improving access and quality to clean drinking water, sanitation, health services, and elementary education. We have seen that these are the complementary requirements for food security. And the fourth category of public policy promoting food security in India is wage employment schemes like Food for Work and now MGNREGA and so on and so forth. And the fourth policy is the National Food Security Act 2013. All these facets of food security now has been merged into this act. Therefore, this act is an umbrella act which covers all facets of food security now. Now, what are the policies for minimum support price, procurement, buffer stock, and PDS? Very briefly stating, when Government of India introduced Green Revolution in the mid-60s, then the purpose was to produce more, to incentivize farmers to produce more. Therefore, from that perspective, the Government of India thought that if we want to incentivize farmers to produce more, it's essential to provide them basic minimum price of the crops which are required for food security, and hence MSP was floated as a program by Government of India. By adopting, this is adopted for selected crops, and gradually it was enlarged. Now I think 23 crops are covered under MSP. Now there are 2 objectives of MSP. Why Government of India at that time introduced MSP? There are 2 objectives. One, to incentivize the farmer to produce more, and second was to procure good food grains for PDS for onward sale to consumer at affordable prices. If we have a look at statistics, MSP policy has succeeded to a large extent on account of both the objectives. The impact of MSP on agriculture production has remained limited to few crops only. Though it is announced for 23, but procurement arrangement is not made for 23, only 3-4 crops they make the procurement arrangement. That's why the farmer are agitating at present that if you are announcing 23, then you should make arrangement for all the 23. And geographically also, only limited states have benefited